Okay, is this true? I want someone to tell me. I told you this guy would never play 17 games. Let me know if that's true. He wasn't nothing but a winner in Philly. I agree with you, man. Big Marshall. Will somebody confirm or not confirm if Nolan Smith has been put on injured reserve? One of my bold predictions was that guy wouldn't play a full year. Is Nolan Smith now an IR who misses 4 games? Boom! Man, we're hitting on all cylinders so far this offseason and going into this year. I told you that dude would never make it. He would never make it. And this was the concern of Vic. Okay? This was the concern of Vic. Bennett and Nolan Smith both sent to IR. Automatic 4 games, they're out. So now you go into the Buck game without your second best pass rusher, or to some extent your first best pass rusher. Wow. Okay. So you go in to a guy you were talking about paying $25 million to. Is that correct? And now he misses 4 games. So let me hit this thing here. Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith going on injured reserve. This was a bold prediction that we made with Xander prior to this season. And we said that this guy is not a 17-game player, that he would not play 17 games. He's not built to play 17 ball games. And once again, he's injured. He has shown that he's a good player. He really has. He's a good football player. Unfortunately, his availability will be his downfall. We have nothing against the player. He actually fitting into Vic and his scheme and how Vic got the best out of him a year ago was absolutely great coaching and the player being coachable. I like the way the kid plays with energy. I like the way the kid leads. There is nothing that you don't like about Nolan Smith except this guy just can't stay healthy. Lost our only edge who was decent against the run. That's correct. You were crushed by the Rams on the edge last Sunday. They went for 160 on you. Are you under the impression with Tristan Wirfs that they're not going to run at the edges again? Why would I run into 700 pounds of defensive tackle between Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter? Why would I do that? I wouldn't. I'm going to attack your edges. And Smith being out is devastating. You're already not that good at that point. You're okay. They're going to sign CJ. I'm telling you, we'll get back to that here in a minute. But let me stay. Marshall, I'll get back to that. I promise you on CJ. Nolan Smith is not a future piece of this team. End of story. He's not a future piece. And here's why. You can't consistently be in and out of the lineup. And you can't be a future piece if you're always hurt. It's impossible. Now, could you diminish his role and put him in a situational pass rush role and have him come off the bench and be somebody that's a specialized player? If you wanted to find that role, there's probably a role on the team for him. Let me put it to you this way. Nolan Smith is probably a $25 million and up player. But because of his availability, that guy's an $8 million player. And he's a role player at best. Because you can't count on him, and you can't count on him to be able to build a football team around him. The Eagles need an edge rusher. he ain't it. That's not your future. Seals, do you think he's good? I do. Do you think Dallas Goedert is a good tight end? I do. Do you think he's here for the future in the next 3 years? I don't. Why? He misses 25% of his career every year. No, I don't. I need reliability, especially in a Vic Fangio defense. You got to set the edges. Listen here. This is nothing personal with Nolan Smith. I like the kid. I think the kid's got a lot of intangibles that you love. You like his presence. He's got a presence when he's in the room. His Georgia Bulldog guys speak highly of him. They love the guy. That means nothing when you're not on the football field. Okay, that means nothing. Dean back, Campbell to edge, sign CJ. Dude, Campbell, let him play off ball first before we start moving him around. Sills, was it because he was injured or how he was not happy with what he saw on Sunday? No way. No way. They're not putting him on IR because of not what they saw. Rappaport tweets that he tweaked his triceps again. Same one that got operated on. Okay? It's good. At least it's not a shoulder and a ACL or an MCL. So he could be back. But again, for them to put him on IR, that's mandatory 4 weeks. Now, you know what they did? They probably put him on the 4 weeks. Why? You got the New York Giants twice coming up, right? And I think the bye somewhere wedged in there. So it's probably what they're looking at here with how they put him on IR, because you really don't. I don't think if you need him against the New York Giants, the Eagles are going to have a tough road to hoe here. But one more thing here again for Nolan Smith. Dude, everything you like about a football player is in that guy's DNA. Everything about Nolan Smith. Attitude, his preparation, how his teammates see him, everything. Except he's not built for the league. He is too small. Okay? You know what? I don't know if some of you know the name. It's Bob Sanders playing edge. All right? It's Bob Sanders playing edge. You see this fucking cocksucker here? I would wish an injury on another brother that played in the National Football League. Dude, you sit in here all day long and you just bark your fucking nonsense. People, this guy right here. And you know what he'll do? He'll go home and he'll play with himself because he got my attention for 3 minutes. One thing you always have to know this about me. I would never wish for another person in my entire life that played in the National Football League, that's a brother of mine, to ever be injured. People like that, there's a reason that they made the guillotine for. And he's one of them. Okay? He's a fucking weirdo. Exactly, JD. This guy's a fucking weirdo. He's like a chick stalking a dude. He's a weirdo. All that said, Nolan Smith, it's a really disappointing thing. It's disappointing. Okay? Disappointing, to say the least. Now, what are you going into the game against the Bucs with? Zadarius Smith, Jalix Hunt, and who? So let's go to the depth chart here with the Birds. Holy cow. So you're telling me, remember the comment that I told you guys? You guys told me that you were going to be able to replace Josh Sweat, and it would be like that. Remember all that offseason? You guys were telling me that you were going to replace him. Pump the brakes. Here's another. You haven't replaced Slay, and you haven't replaced Josh Sweat, correct? And you haven't replaced Gardner Johnson. Those three positions have not been replaced. And, I heard Xander say this to John. I'm not really This is what Xander said. We're going to get Xander at 3:30, by the way. Guys, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. Xander said this. That's not a position that I'm sitting around going like this. Well, safety's a problem. Well, I'll disagree with that. You know how? How do you think Reed Blankenship's playing? And how do you think that Andrew Makuba and Sidney Brown are playing? And do you think their plays affecting Reed Blankenship's, who's probably playing the worst of anybody on that defense right now in the first 3 weeks? You think it's had any impact on his play? Safety's fine. Reed Blankenship's playing like shit. He's the worst defender on your team right now. You think that has anything to do with it? Hoss, so you think Reed, wait, we're good at safety? Reed is a liability. He is not playing well. Hey, by the way, if he was so good, where's his contract, RC3, that you told me was coming 6 different times? RC3, where's that contract? I'll make a point to you guys. Because of the way that Jordan Davis is now playing, not a chance in hell they give Reed Blankenship a contract. Now, maybe because of Nolan Smith, maybe Reed does get some type of contract on that side of the ball. But the loss of Nolan Smith is enormous heading into this Bucs game down in Tampa, and they're going to up-tempo you, which means you're going to need pass rushers. So here's your edge rushing room. Zadarius Smith and Jalix Hunt are now your starters at edge. Advantage, Bucs. That's not intimidating or imposing. That's a downgrade from a year ago. That's a downgrade. Downgrade. You're heading into the most important game in the early part of the season, and you lose a key component there. I do think Reed might be too concerned with making sure everyone is lined up and communicating. Having Slang and CJ, he didn't have to babysit last year. Hey, JD3, isn't that funny? All I heard this morning, and people telling me this morning, was that CJ Gardner-Johnson, there's problems with him. He's a cancer. He's no good. Didn't seem to be a problem in Philly. It didn't seem to be a problem when he was playing for you. He helped you get to 2 Super Bowls. He was on the number 1 ranked defense in the league a year ago. He was on a Super Bowl championship team. I don't know. What happened? You don't like him? He's an asshole? He wants more money? You can't coach around that? Okay. I thought Nick's culture was so good that you could overcome shit like that. Hall of Fame nominees came out today. Speaking of coming out, are you cracking open a couple of Bud Lights for your boy Jeff Garcia? Who the fuck is Jeff Garcia? We haven't really replaced Milton. The run game is suffering. Marshall, you're really a great guy in here. You really are. And I think what you've done and how you go back and forth with me, you're a perfect sports talk guy, in my opinion, in here. You disagree vehemently with me, and then all of a sudden, when there's topics that you and I have a common ground on, we sit there and we go back and forth on it. So, Big Marshall, do you remember me in the offseason going, do you really believe that you're going to replace the 5 players that were on that Super Bowl team? And everyone in here said yes. You think Moro Jomo is outplaying Milton Williams? And what Milton Williams, he's playing Pro Bowl football right now. Milton Williams, a year ago, was on the number 1 ranked defense. I don't think Moro Jomo's outplayed him or even equaled him. Not in any way. Your edge rushers have come nowhere near Josh Sweat. Nowhere near. Not with pressure, not with playing the run. You can't set the edge. Do you think that really Makuba and Sidney Brown have outplayed Gardner Johnson of a year ago? No. I won't even go to Adoree. The only guy that's close is Campbell. It's Campbell. He's the only guy close, in my opinion. He's the only guy. Vic is just working it. He's such a good coach. Such a good coach. We're going to go by the numbers here. But one more time. Nolan Smith, dude, that guy's not part of the future of this football team. He's always hurt. He tweaked his tricep. You know, again, it's something every year. You drafted the player injured. And listen, when I made that prediction that guy will not play 17 games, and you make those kind of comments, you were clearly not hoping that. If anything, you're praying the guy plays 17 ball games, and you're wrong. He gets his extension. He becomes a viable part of your franchise. That's the kind of topic I want to be wrong on. Dude, I don't root against anybody. But when I see constant injuries and I see people always missing time for something, whether it's Dallas Goedert or it's Nolan Smith, it has no bearing on how I feel about the guy. Small sample size, however, Reed looks better with Makuba on the field with him. Okay. A little bit. A little bit. Well, that's because Makuba is better in space. Sidney Brown can't tackle. He can't tackle. I mean, yeah, Q. Brown is not good in space. And now you have more open windows. Sills, when I see Nolan's skills, I see him as off-ball linebacker. It will limit his opportunities to lock up on OTs. Dude, that might be a possibility with him because him lining up on offensive tackles, and let me see here. I want to double check to make sure he is on the Will side. He is. Bob, there's a reason he's on the Will side. Usually that's the side that tight ends aren't lined up and you don't have double teams. And they're trying to keep him away from the double teams. You know, you put him on the Will, that's the open side, and you're using his speed. And he's using his ability to be able to get out in space. Dude, the guy's got talent. Okay? The guy's got talent. Seals, you going to do a live a game stream ever? Man, I do 7 hours a day of broadcasting. Sitting around doing a 4-hour football game, I don't know, man. You know, that's probably not happening right now. But maybe one day, Rich. Like maybe in the bye week when I don't have to do like the morning show, maybe I would do something like that. Maybe. Listen, I'm never going to say no or never to something. So keep lining them up on the opposite side like they do with Parsons. Yeah, they do that. They put him on the Will. Nolan is going down the Chris Godwin route. Always hurt, and you wonder what could have been. Man, you're hoping that's not the case. Okay? You're hoping that that's not the case with him. Because one thing that Vic did show, Vic brought his talent out. You know, a year ago, I'll bring this point up to you, man. Okay? He brought the talent out. Hey, Sills, do you think the Eagles open up the offense this week? Eric, I don't. You know why, Eric? They're going to come back, Eric, and do this. 19-1. Sileo, sit the fuck down. You know what I mean? They believe in their process. You can't dispute it. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, right? So they'll look at the players and go, we know what's best. We've been to 3 Super Bowls in 8 years. We've won 1 or 2 in 8 years, and we've been to 2 in 3 years. So I think they're going to go back to the same formula. Unfortunately, they're going to go back to the same formula. And in this Tampa game, we're going to get into it again. Okay? Good point. That's why it should be. No, it's correct. You see, Eric, to your point, dude, everybody in Philadelphia goes, well, now we can throw the ball and now we're gonna. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Loden need a big and physical defensive end opposite of him, like DeMarcus Lawrence and Parsons had there in Dallas, and Rashawn Gary up in Green Bay. It's a great take, Trevor. That's a great take. Abe, he's enjoying life. He's not coming back. Listen, I despise that take that the Eagles, and the answer, they didn't answer no. Nick didn't say no. Nick didn't say no. He could have put it to bed right there. You know, we've moved on from Gardner Johnson. Nothing to him. He's a player that's been cut. He's not under contract. Nick could have just went like this. Hey, nah, you know, we like our guys. We don't have any interest in going backwards. We're moving forward here. Instead of answering it like this, at this time, we like our room. You see that little at this time? That's a lawyer's answer because it gives you latitude to get out from under that comment you made in case the room changes. I mean, it's a lawyer's answer. Players look for those lawyers' answers. Okay? I mean, if we get smoked by the Bucks, the tune will change. Hey, KCA Eagle, if they get beat in the secondary and they get beat this weekend and you can't set the edge and they're throwing passes into that secondary, bet your ass. Now, the Bucks are limited now. Evans is gone 2 to 3. And I'm going to get into some of the parameters of why I think the Bucks are going to have they're going to have an A-plus game to beat you guys. And I don't think you have to have an A-plus game. Sills with Nolan at the will. He does avoid the double teams, but puts him right there on the offensive tackles. If he's on the will, he needs to be wide. Put him in a wide 9. Okay? This is untrue. The restriction is that the player must be first spent. This is untrue. That's untrue. Anybody who posted that, Adam Schefter went on 97.5 The Fanatic and said that he's eligible to play with any team, as we reported yesterday. That's not true. Whoever said that is not true. Okay? It's not true. Schefter said it today. It's not true. They can sign him. Okay? You're wrong. Take an L like a man. So, last thing here with Nolan Smith. Jalix Hunt has not looked like all of you thought he was going to look like, and me too. He is not ready yet. He's not ready. He's a good-looking prospect. Okay? He is. But not yet. Not yet. Sills, did you hear that Roseman is not done looking for a cornerback? Where are you going to find that now? Trade? Sills, our GM owner, are so worried about the turnovers, and now that Barkley's success, unless forced into, they will stick to their guns and limit Hurts' exposure. That's right. And they're going to turn around and tell you 19-1. He's only playing edge for 3 years now, and he can't stay healthy in any one of those years. 3 years and he's hurt. You drafted him hurt. Alex benefited from Milton. Funny, when I said that in the offseason, you guys were trying to tell me that the defensive edge rushers were benefiting from Jalen Carter. Well, what happened now? Jalen Carter's out of shape. He missed a game, and your edge rushers are getting blown up. I thought he'd have an impact on Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith. Like I knew they wouldn't. Hey, maybe it was the other way around. That Jalen Carter benefited also from having Milton Williams and Josh Sweat in that D-line. I know many of you don't want to put that there, but you're playing musical chairs now in your front four. Are you not? Everyone wanted to give Jalen Carter all the love, and he is a great player. But he's not played well. Why? Well, look at the guys that he's not playing with. He doesn't have Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. You don't have the corners. With Slay, you don't have the safety with CJ. Did you ever think why you're 18th in total defense? Let me get that number right. Let me double check that. Let's take a look at this here. Where you are in total defense. Eagles are 18th in total defense. What'd I say you'd be? Between 10 and 15? You're 18th right now. After 12 quarters of play. Ton of football to go. Ton of football. What are you against the run here? By the way, your pass defense is not terrible. They're 11th. That's not terrible. But here's the problem with your football team. On defense, you're 24th against the run. So let me get this right. You're 18th in total defense, and you're 24th against the run. And you're telling me that Jordan Davis is fucking playing well? That whole group is playing well? Who? Who would you say is playing well? Because he has a higher volume of reps? Dude, they're running the football down your throat. What are you talking about? Carter has not played well. He's not played well. The other side of that goes down this lane. Look, I just told you, you're not running it well. And here's the other issue that you have heading into this Bucs game. Here's something to think about too, and I want to double check here on your run offense here. Pass offense, I mean, you're 29th like you were a year ago. And your run offense is 14th. A year ago, you were number 1. Now you're 14th. You're in the middle of the league. What's the actual numbers on Barkley? He's 12th in rushing. He's averaging 3.3 yards a carry, and he's at 64 yards a game. And your passing attack is 29th. And your run defense is 18th heading into this game. Here's where I'm at with this game. And let me, again, Nolan Smith, it's devastating not to be able to have a rotation heading into this football game. So let me give you just an overall synopsis, because this is what I'm hearing. The Bucs have